Hey guys, quick update to what's happening over in Syria. This is out of the Economic Collapse blog from yesterday. Fighters from Turkey are pouring into Syria and attacking targets despite the ceasefire. Goes on to talk about how the ceasefire is a complete joke, and Turkish military units continue to mass along the border, and militants are pouring across the border to attack targets in northern Syria. Prime Minister of Turkey is openly admitting that his government is supporting the militants that are trying to overthrow the Syrian government, and Turkish government has also made it abundantly clear that they have no plans to stop the shelling of the Kurds on the other side of the border. So, despite the quote unquote ceasefire, the truth is that the threat of World War III breaking out in the Middle East is greater than ever. RT News goes on to confirm this. They had some TV crew films over there in Turkey with some rare footage showing the fortifications of Turkey with tanks, artillery, and troops on the Syrian border, and they're continuing to shell the Kurds. Erdogan has stated that the ceasefire does not affect them, does not apply to them, and they're going to continue to bomb the Kurds as they have been doing. In effect, the ceasefire to me is complete bullshit. As we all know, it's just basically giving everybody time to regroup and go along with the next phase of this war, which is going to be a ground invasion. Russia has, limited their airstrikes. Assad has backed down, with his forces only because they want to see peace prevail. But the U.S., Turkey, and Saudi Arabia obviously are still coming out saying that Assad has to go, and the only way to get rid of Assad is to put ground troops into Syria. This came out as well. Saudi military admits U.S. coalition mulling ground invasion of Syria, talking about. I did a video a few weeks ago regarding this exact same thing, and now it's just basically being mirrored and echoed throughout other alternative media sites and some of the somewhat mainstream media outlets. They had at the Munich Security Conference, they were talking about at that time, before the ceasefire even took place, sending Turkish and Saudi ground forces into Syria, being backed by the U.S. and basically being controlled by the U.S. So Turkey and Saudi Arabia are just being the puppets of the U.S. and NATO right now in the Western coalition, because the U.S. is involved in the ceasefire and they don't want to be the ones to break it, so they want to use Turkey and Saudi Arabia to somehow either force Russia to break it or have Russia break the ceasefire on their own, which will then give them justification to go along with their Plan B and send in ground troops into Syria. So that's pretty much what I think is going to happen. There's going to be either a false flag attack, or they're going to blame Russia somehow for completely violating the truce agreement, the ceasefire, and then they're just going to basically kick off the next phase of the war. So we've also got Saudi jets to launch missions from Turkish airbase upon U.S. order. 4 Saudi Arabian military aircraft that arrived at the Incirlik Air Base in southern Turkey will begin carrying out combat missions in Syria after receiving corresponding orders from the U.S.-run Operations Center. They haven't conducted any operations yet since they only arrived on Friday, but the air operations are coordinated by the operational center of the coalition based in Qatar and run by the U.S. If they give the order to conduct combat operations, they will be fulfilled. So they have Saudi Arabia has 4 F-15E Strike Eagle fighter bombers that are joining the U.S., German, and Qatari aircraft that are going to be taking part in the anti-ISIS airstrikes in Iraq and Syria. So this could be the catalyst. If Saudi Arabia decides to launch these jets and the U.S. backs it, they're going to, and they do it right now, they're going to be in direct contact with Russian Air Force jets at the same time. Because, as we all know, Russia is continuing to bomb ISIS positions. So, if Saudi Arabia launches their jets while Russian jets are in the same airspace, it could easily lead to, either some sort of accident or, some sort of intentional provocation. So they could kick off this war and then have justification to put ground troops into Syria, and then this entire thing will go hot. So we need to definitely look out for that. The ceasefire, the mainstream media will have everybody believe that the ceasefire is holding and everybody is playing nice and everybody's getting along, when in fact it's the complete opposite. The U.S. and Saudi Arabia and Turkey are just biding their time. Like I said, the regrouping, the rearming, the radical militants, ISIS, al-Nusra, and everybody else, and they are getting ready for their quote-unquote Plan B, which will most definitely involve a ground invasion into Syria, because the only way to get rid of Assad, like I said before, is to put troops on the ground. You cannot take out Assad by airstrikes alone. So I will keep you guys updated as more news comes in. In the meantime, keep your eyes open and be careful not to step in the mainstream media bullshit. And I will see you in my next video. All right, take care.